meeting to order. Are we live? We are live. Okay. Kevin, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock? Ms. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here.
Mr. Avery?
Here.
Mr. Hannah? Here.
Council does have a quorum. Would you please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council, and this is Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. Any additions to our agenda from council this evening?
Just a motion to excuse Mr. Babcock from this evening's meeting.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Mr. Hannah, second by Mr. Bear. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And that motion does pass. Let's go to council minutes. This would be for the Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. If council has had a chance to look at those and you're satisfied with their contents, I would entertain a motion in a second to approve those minutes.
So moved. I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker, seconded by Mr. Bear. And call the roll, please.
Ms. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And I forgot, Kevin, welcome back to the village of Enon. It's good to see you. We're glad that health-wise you're doing better, so good to see you.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
Good to be back. So,
Well, we'll keep you busy.
okay. Busy enough for now.
We'll find something for you. Let's go into the financial report, and we will start off with the cash summary by funds, and we're actually looking pretty good there. General fund, $173,000. Let's see. Let's go to street maintenance, construction and maintenance, $77,000 in that fund. ARPA fund, $135,000. Police levy fund, $291,000. Water operating, $328,000. Contingency fund, $110,000. Total of all funds, $1,044,791.09. Let's look at the revenue status report. And for our general fund, we have collected about 60% of our anticipated revenues through, and this is through the month of May, through May 31st. And it looks like, where did I see something really big that we did well on? Let me point this out. Where was that? It might have been interest. Yeah, we're doing pretty well on the interest. And I like the fact that Laura had predicted a low amount of interest, but we've collected almost $7,000 in interest about halfway through the year, so that's a really good sign. Page 2, if you look at the street construction, maintenance, and repair fund, we've collected about 39% of our anticipated revenues. Going to page 3, the police levy, we're about 52%. Now keep in mind that one's not going to really go up much until we get the second half of our real estate taxes. That'll be in August, probably the first or second week of August. Going to page 4, looking at the waterworks fund, we've collected approximately 44% of our anticipated revenues, and total for the report as of the 31st of May, about 48% collected. So we're in pretty good shape there. The next thing, let's look at the appropriation status report. Let's see, we have 5 months, so we're about 42% through the year. If you look on page 2, we've collected about we have spent about 41% of our anticipated expenditures for the year. The street fund, we have spent approximately 32%. Keep in mind, we're about to approve the bid for South Senior Street paving tonight, so that will change dramatically with that project once that project is done and has been completed. We really haven't done anything major in the street department this year. So let's go to the police levy on page 3, and we have spent about 36% of the estimated of the appropriations of what we estimated to spend. And let's see, down to the water department, we are about 37% of what we anticipated spending. Overall, for all of the funds, the total amount is 35%. So we're doing well in our different funds there, but those are going to change as these projects come in and we start spending those funds throughout the summer. You can see drastic changes, or you will see drastic changes potentially from month to month. So we have a bank reconciliation that was prepared by our fiscal officer, Laura Ewing. And this was for the month of May. And if there are no questions regarding that reconciliation report, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve that as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Sweet, seconded by Mr. Avery. Is there any further discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
So that report has been approved for the month of May. And are there any questions before we move on here? Are there any questions regarding the finances, just in general? We are getting close to halfway through the year. Are there any questions, anything that we would want our fiscal officer to address before she puts together those budget numbers for 2024? Anything at all? Okay. So at this time, we have a special presentation to make for a very special member of our community. This is Karen Amos. Would you come forward, please? Bring your family with you, whoever's able. And Elmer, I'd like for you to also join in on this, if you would, please.
I'm getting a leg lamp.
That's not gonna happen.
I couldn't find one, or you would have one.
So this is Karen Amos and her family, and this is Teresa and
Hillary, my daughter, son-in-law.
And son-in-law, and of course we all know Elmer. And for 28 years, Karen, you have been driving a bus, and 10 of those you worked for Elmer, right? Yeah.
And then when we started, we drove together.
Yes. So you guys have been kind of connected for a long time.
That's
And,
part-
and
part-
that'll only last one more month, right? Because then you're gonna retire and.
He's out there.
So Karen has driven the bus. She's been an EMT. I don't know whether you did any firefighting, but okay, firefighter as well. And she has served our community well for many years. She had a situation a month ago, and because of the training that she had received from the transportation department, and we know, Elmer, I know firsthand how big training is to you. You put that training into effect, and you averted a potential disaster in our school district. And you want to tell us about it a little bit, just briefly?
I was on 68 headed north, and I was stopped at Houston Road to let a little girl off. And when I started to stop, I put my yellows on, I turned things on, and I was ready to open the door. And when I looked up in my mirror, there was this car flying behind me. Well, the first car went around me. I stood at my door. The second car went around me, and the third car went around me. The little girl was standing there looking at me like, Karen, you gonna open the door? You want me out here? But I wanted to make sure I had done everything right. And there was a gentleman sitting at the stop sign, and I said, call my boss. Tell him what you see, so he can pull my tape. And they didn't stop. She would have died.
You averted a potential disaster. And now we've known each other since our teenage days back in the 70s. And I know, we all know, training is great, but if you can't implement it, if you can't do what you're trained, but you did what you were supposed to do, quick thinking, quick action, and it saved a life. So it
All
is,
of our drivers do this every day.
I understand, that's great. But for your actions, we are here today to recognize your efforts, and I have prepared a proclamation, and I will read it. And why don't you come forward and, okay? And it reads as follows: whereas Mrs. Karen Amos is an employee of the Green Local School District, where she has served as a bus driver for the past 28 years, and whereas Mrs. Amos has received extensive training to ensure the children of our school district are safely transported, and whereas on Friday, May 12th, 2023, Mrs. Amos did exhibit extraordinary judgment, quick thinking while dropping off a student, which prevented a possible tragic incident. Now therefore I, Timothy Howard, Mayor of the Village of Enon, and on behalf of the Enon Village Council, the Green Local School Board, and the citizens of the Enon community, do hereby issue this proclamation recognizing Mrs. Karen Amos for her love and dedication to the children of our community.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Carrie Jane to this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, boss man.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Elmer.
guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go into staff reports, and Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council, public. Once again, I appreciate my time off, everybody kind of stepping up. I just want to let you know that, the office staff and the guys out in the street and the water department really stepped up and while I was away, and it was an incident that I don't wish on anybody that would have to go through, but I am feeling better after 2 emergency room visits and a week in the hospital, getting better each day. It's just, if you know me, I'm a one to go, do, and doctor says no, So for 6 weeks, I just can't even lift in a gallon of milk. So, but I've got about 2 weeks left on my aggressive antibiotic treatment 3 times a day. So, and I got a follow-up appointment to see how everything's going. So, I want to thank you all for your thoughts and prayers, and really appreciate it. So, I just can't wait to get back and get going at it again. So, but always remember to clean up your wounds, okay? That's a life lesson right there. So anyhow, I talked to Paul DeButy to get an update on the Enon Xenia construction road update, and we do have a meeting next Wednesday, so I'll have more of an update after that, but not too much of an update. He says they're moving forward with the pipeline installation as planned, starting at River Pike and moving north. So, but everything else, he said nothing's really changed. So, but like I said, after next Wednesday's meeting, Jason and I will attend, and we'll have a better update on what's going on and stuff. So, in front of you is the mayor's court report for May. There was 10 traffic cases. Total funds received for the current month, $1,385. Year to date, $8,955.32. Total remitted to the state, current month, $262.50. Year to date, $1,616.50. Total remitted to the village, current month, $1,112. Year to date, $7,177.32. Total dispersed, $1,385, and year to date, $89.55.32. So if that's just.
We'll need a motion and a second to approve that mayor's court for the month of May.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Sweet, seconded by Mr. Whitaker. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Enon Xenia paving bids, you have that in your packet as well. The bids came in quite impressive, I guess,
They did.
under the engineer's estimates. So the highest bid, or the lowest bid was $281,977.58. The highest bid was $324,396, and the engineer's estimate was $362,031. So it came in quite a bit under. And with that, as long as we're talking about it, the breakdown you also have in front of you of what the village is responsible for, or are going to have encumbered for this project. The overall, what we're going to need is $60,209.53. So I know we talked about that in the past and having that encumbered and stuff. So we were kind of anticipating having to, or the bids first of all coming in a little higher and having to ante up a little bit more just due to increase of asphalt and things like that. But since then, since the bids came in, the asphalt prices have come down. So hopefully they keep coming down and we can do some work.
And if you do the math real quick, you'll see that that lowest bidder, which happens to be also the best bid, that's not always the case, is approximately $80,000 less than what the engineer's estimate was. So very, very fortunate, and that means that the amount for the village of Enon will be around $60,000 from our street fund. About $25,000 will be contributed from the county. We will need to carry that $85,000 on our books with a reimbursement from the county because we are the lead agency. So just kind of a heads up there. And I've already talked to our fiscal officer about that because typically it's the other way around. Usually the county's the lead agency and we're piggybacking on them. So it'll be a little bit different this time.
So we need to go ahead and move the bid then.
Do we need a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the village accept the bid from A&B Asphalt Company for the amount of $281,977.58 for the village of Enon Senior Road Improvements, OPWC, project David King Zebra 11.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Hannah, a second by Mr. Bear. Is there any other discussion on this project, on this motion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
That bid is approved. We'll sign the documents, and Kevin, we'll be underway.
Yes, we will. That's going to be a nice addition once we get it all done. So.
It would have been nice if we'd had the same contractor do the whole stretch, but they'll have to, I hope they will coordinate, you know, the Barrett paving part from Green Vista south, and then this part from Green Vista north, so. Just to let you all know, I starting to come back into the office. Usually I'm here about 9 o'clock. My morning treatment's at 8. So time that gets done, I'm usually in here about 9, and then my afternoon treatment's at 2:30, or 3 o'clock. So I usually leave here right around 2:15, 2:30. So I'll be doing that at least for another 2 weeks until I get the PIC line out and all systems go. So, so I appreciate your patience and once again your support. Thank you. That's all I have for now.
Do you want to give a quick update on the zoning that we've been working on with John Vanderglass? Just kind of a little update on that.
Yeah, we have a Zoom call with John and his architect and his construction foreman. he presented to the village about opening up a Enon brewery on the corner of Harrison and Enon Road there, just right over here. The plans are looking good. We're kind of narrowing it down right now to actual what zoning it's going to fit into. We're going to talk about that. But I think there's going to be a few variances that he's going to have to apply for, but nothing real major. I think it's going to be a great improvement myself, in my opinion, to that whole corner area there from what it is now. And he seems pretty excited about it, and he's keep moving forward. So, but nothing's been decided on as of right now. Nothing's in concrete, but we are kind of moving forward with
These are like
him.
preliminary discussions. There's been nothing applied for officially. It's just trying to figure out what district it would be and then looking at stuff like parking and setbacks and all that stuff. So, yeah.
But as time goes on, we'll keep you updated on that as well. So,
Thanks, Kevin.
thank you.
Questions for our administrator?
Actually, I just thought of something about the road, street pavement. Will it be done in time for apple butter to be?
I will find out the schedule and see. I mean, I'll find out the schedule
you.
and see and get more information on that.
I had to
Also, it's
ask.
nice to see Wayne out today in the field, so we're
Yep.
glad to have him back.
Yes.
Good.
We were short bodies for a while. Yeah.
Yep. It's good to have him back. He's feeling good, he says. I talked to him
Looked
today.
good, yeah.
And he can't bend down and climb ladders. And I said, well, I'm not going to let you. So, but other than that, he's doing pretty good. So,
Thanks, Kevin.
thank you.
Chief, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Good evening, residents. First off, the thing I have is National Night Out. I'd like to request some funds for that. That's August 1st. It's a Tuesday. And last year we did $2,000 from the village, so I just asked that maybe we appropriate another $2,000 this year. That's for refreshments and activities and
Is that
stuff.
enough, Mike, the 2,000 last year?
Well, yeah, I guess there was an inflation in cost.
I
Yeah,
was
last year
just
was
asking.
enough, but this year, that's a good question. I don't know. Last year it was. I don't know about this year, but I mean, I think it's a good start, and I'll try to stay under that. I mean, I know Miranda's in the process of reaching out to 7-Eleven Speedway to see if they'll support it like they have before. That's usually a big help, and as long as that's the case. Some of the rides were a little costly, but we'll divert it. We'll figure it out. But yes, it was enough last year.
Okay.
So if I could, I'd like to request that. And then,
So could we have a motion that we would get the formal action on that, a motion and a second to approve the 2,000?
Make
So
a motion
moved.
that we,
Oh, let him do it.
go ahead, Robert.
Go ahead, I'll second you.
Make a motion to earmark $2,000 for the National Night Out for the police department to use as we did previous.
And I'll second that motion.
So moved by Mr. Hannah, seconded by Mrs. Sweet. Any further discussion?
Where would that be coming out of?
So I would suggest that,
209, something.
and I was looking at that. I think that's, Jeremy, those typically come out of that special,
Yeah, that's where we take it from.
From our police levy.
yeah, let me get that. Yeah,
Just yeah. That's all I was wondering, the overall
Release
funds.
and failing.
Looks like we got 231,000 unencumbered, so.
we'll be in good shape.
Yep.
I think it's,
Can we do roll?
That's it.
I didn't
Yeah.
do it yet, but
Oh.
ready?
Go ahead.
Good.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
That request has been approved.
thank you. This is one I don't use that much, and I always ask Laura which one it was when you're asking about the fund. Anyways, moving on. The old 301, the SUV, you might have saw it parked out front with no stripings on it. I pulled that vinyl off Saturday, and then I've got it down at Montgomery County The garage, they'll go ahead and strip the inside out, put seats back in, buff out the existing marks left over from the residue, and pull the light bar off. Darren Peppo, he's actually the one that built that cruiser when we first bought it back in 2013. So he should be able to take it apart. Anyways, I dropped that off today. It should be very inexpensive and get it back as soon as they can get to it. It's not a huge deal. The charger's out there gleaming in the sunlight. Other miscellaneous communications for the police department. We are currently doing a leads audit, which is very interesting. I've never had one of those before, but
Are those random, Mike, or are they like scheduled every so many years, or?
well, they are random, but with the way everything's going, I talked to him today. There's a lot of changes. Obviously, there's a whole lot of issues now with the way technology and stuff is. So they are pushing them out more. Yes, they're going to be not only are they random, they're going to just be more robust because they're trying to get people to make sure we're following the rules and all that, and then they're making stipulations a lot more. I know we are what's called an MDT, Mobile Data Terminal Agency, which means we're a non-entering agency. And though nothing's official, we pay annual leads. We pay $100 a month for lead service. But I was talking to one of the reps today, and she said that they're pretty much going to go away from MDT because the fees are so much, and once everything comes out, it's probably, and she wasn't quoting a price, but it's going to be more than double, roughly. She thought maybe about $250 a month, and that's just because of all the auditing and the rules and stuff. The fees that they pay, it doesn't even cover their salaries, which still for us that's not too hateful.
Not bad.
I know. I said, well, we're going to go on with Spillman as soon as the county gets that done, so we won't have that. And of course, she pointed out that had nothing to do with the fees that we pay. So
Okay.
for that, so at any rate, at some point that'll little double, but again, you got to have it.
Got to have it.
But yeah, there's definitely some more stuff coming out on all of it. I've got to straighten a few things out, but we'll be all right. I just went to training. I went with the sheriff's office hosted alert, which is something I've been a part of for a while. I'm an instructor on the level 1 instructor, and I'm a CRACE instructor. This wasn't an instructor level training. It was just a training. It's called AIR, which was a joint regional training because fire and EMS now will come into what's called a warm zone for like a critical incident, so we can evacuate people. That was phenomenal. I've been to, obviously, I've been to a lot of training. That was number one. They were super impressed the way we responded, and as was I. But I think it was Springfield Fire, and there's some fire and EMS agencies, but it was really nice. It was held over at Tecumseh. Lieutenant Brad Barnhart reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to come to that, and that was impressive.
Good.
So hopefully we can get a lot more, but there's 8 agencies in a regional task force. So if you had an active shooter or bomb or any other catastrophic incident, it's pretty neat how everybody gets together and took all their training and functions as a team. But man, we had volunteers, and it was pretty intense. But we had some record times and very, very, very good training. So I thought I'd share it with you. That was kind of nice. That was last week, so I was MIA for Tuesday and Wednesday. That was why. Short of that, it's the end of my report, quick and sweet.
Burning question. What do you think we're going to get for the old Charger?
It's funny.
Maybe 15,000?
I was thinking
10,000?
$2, but I got to tell you, yeah. So I'm gonna say about I bet you're pulling about $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
If you want an actual number, are we taking quotes? I know that I will say this. I'm not a mechanic, so I don't want to diagnose it, but I will tell you there is something wrong with the transmission, which, I don't want to sell somebody a lemon, but the overdrive gear was going out back when we decommissioned it, back in 19. But now it is, it's definitely not shifting right, so to speak. But I know 2 people that are very interested in it. And
As is. We sell it as is.
it is as is. It definitely has some mechanical problems, but I don't know. I'm interested to see.
Okay. Thank you. Questions for our chief? Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Let's go into, let's see, we have no committee reports, old business. Under new business, I've got a couple items here, and I have some motions written out. We talked about the longevity pay in great detail. The Public Service Committee actually was handling that, and that policy was voted on at the last meeting. And in order to put on the record what was talked about as far as people that have passed their milestone, I thought the best thing to do would be to put it in a motion, longevity pay for employees that are within that 2.5-year period of having that 5-year milestone. We have 4 of them. Mr. Doug Bardnell, 5 years. Steve Durrell, 10 years. Jason Rose, 5 years. And Christy Tomey, 25 years. So this puts it actually in a motion form, again, on the record, that these people would be paid for achieving those milestones within that 2.5-year period. And I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve that longevity pay, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Sweet, seconded by Mr. Whitaker. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And again, I appreciate the efforts that the committee has put in on all this. This is a huge benefit, this longevity pay. Mike, you were very instrumental in this as well. Kevin, you were as well. But this definitely shows appreciation to our employees for their time with the village. And we have some more coming up. So the second motion that I have prepared is a motion to approve 1 week's paid vacation for our part-time employees that have been with us for at least a year. And there's one that would become effective as of the 8th day of September. This would be time they can take off, not cashed in, and this would be used by the end of this year. Again, just showing appreciation for those employees, giving them a week's paid vacation when they wanted to take off.
And I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker, seconded by Mr. Bear. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and I do, again, appreciate all of this, the discussion with the part-time vacation, and again, the longevity, and I know it's been a long process, but I can guarantee you the employees will be very appreciative as well, so thank you. Comments from the public? Good evening. Anybody like to address council tonight? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Most of you already probably know me. I'm Russell Graham, the commander of the VFW post down here. Come again to ask for the village's support for our 3rd of July fireworks. It's like last year you were very generous, and I'm hoping again you can match last year's donation. It's like it would be a big help to us.
We do 2,500.
I think we did 2,500 last year.
Yes.
We upped at $500.
Yes.
I'll move that we put $2,500 towards the Enon VFW fireworks.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker. Rick, did you second that? Seconded by Mr. Hannah. Is there any discussion? I love them. I think they're great. That's just my personal opinion. Kevin, call the roll.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And that motion's passed. You can always count on our support.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now, if we can just get the township to match your offer, it would be. We're going to work on them this year.
Do that.
Thank you very much.
You're
Get
welcome.
those fields ready for the cancer tournament.
You say July 3rd?
Yes.
Thank you.
Have to figure out some parking, probably.
A good spot is going to be the new path they put in. Can you see just setting your chairs up and yeah? Don't drive on it, but you can sit on it.
can guarantee it'll be packed.
Yes.
It would.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Won't there be equipment on that corner?
Probably.
You mean Harry's lot? Yeah, you won't be able to, yeah. No.
Well, come
No.
down to the VFW with us.
But the drainage pond is a perfect view.
Yeah.
That's right. He's looking out.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Hannon. We need a second.
Okay.
Second by Mr. Avery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned. Thank you guys for coming. Good to see everybody.
7:05.
Round duckies.
Get you a little
What's that?
floaty. Get you some floaties.
It wasn't bad.
Okay, who